Hey everybody, Garcia here. Today we're going to be taking a trip down memory lane, reconstructing a city just from our memories in Remember Our Trip. This is a tile laying game in which the players are going to be not only constructing their own board with restaurants and shops and different monuments, but also attempting to remember what the city they visited was really like. And you are going to be doing this through some clever mechanisms in which you decide what is on the actual city based on what you place on your own version of that city if you do it early enough. Sound weird? It is a little weird. This is a little bit of a quirky game, but hopefully once I'm done with the overview, it will largely make sense. Not a complicated game, just a little bit of a strange one. So let's go ahead and take a look at it, and I will see you on the other side. Each player is going to be playing on their own image board with a common board in the center of the table. Here we're taking a look at a game with two players. You're going to set up all of the tiles over here that are going to make their way to the common board. We've got over here the board that is going to allow us to draft tokens as well as tell us where we may build. Each player has one player aid in front of them, and then we have the score track with one bonus card that's going to sit on it and possibly award us some extra points. That comes from a deck of cards. You can just randomly select one. These are the common ones, and you can even do one of these advanced ones. And these are double-sided. If you're playing on this map here, or if you want to play on Singapore, then you would use the other side. All of these would be flipped over to play on the Singapore map. So right now we're taking a look at Kyoto here, and we are ready to begin. So we are going to, every round, we have a start player. Whoever has this token here, they're going to flip over one of these cards, and then we are going to select tokens from the bag and put out tokens in each of these spaces equal to the number listed on the card. In this case, 2 tokens. So 2 tokens are going to go into each of these. If we were playing with 3 or 4 players, I would also put 2 there. But we're not doing that. We're just playing with 2. And then starting from the start player, they're going to select one of these choices, one of these lots, and deploy them onto their image board following this diagram here that tells you how you may build on your board. So we're going to be starting with the blue player here. They are going to select this set, and they are going to deploy it in an arrangement that looks like that. So you've got 4 spaces, and they could go like so, 1, 2. You could even put them spaced apart, 1, 2, as long as all of the tokens going out fit into a space, an arrangement that is equal to that. So you could leave some space between them. They might even be taken up by other tokens later on. So this player is going to play 1 there and 1 there. They could even play 1 there and 1, 2, 3 spaces away, put the other one there. That's how you're going to get around the river. But they will go with that arrangement because there is a bonus associated with marking the spots that are already listed on your boards with the highlighted colors, matching those. And then yellow player is going to take a turn, and they are going to select these 2 tokens here, and they will play them there, like so. In a 2-player game, the leftover one is going to be discarded and eliminated from the game, and then we pass the start player marker to the other player. We reveal a new card. We are going to refill the locations from which we draft, and we are going to do it again. So I'm going to refill these randomly, like so. And then yellow player will draft first. And I will talk in 1 second about what we are trying to do here and how we're going to be scoring points. There we go. So I'll go first. I'm going to select this grouping here, and I am going to place them, let's see, out here like this. I'll put 1 there, and I will put this one here and this one here, like so. And then my opponent over there will go, and they are going to select this grouping. And they are going to put out this one here. They're going to put out this one here. And then the other one would have to go there or there. Well, it can't go in either one of those locations. So if you cannot place one, instead you'll put it here, and it might be some negative points at the end of the game, some penalty points. They could have also replaced one as long as it's not yet confirmed. I'll explain that in 1 second, meaning not flipped over. They could have replaced it with a new one and then just put this one over here, but they don't want to do that. This is exactly the kind of pattern they're hoping to build. And then once they've taken, they are going to confirm that group of restaurants. That means we're going to flip them over and we're going to score them. And we're going to check the common board to see if indeed our memory of our trip is correct. Where are there a bunch of restaurants in that location? So each of the different types of tiles is going to score differently. You've got these up here, which are these 3 large ones. You are going to get 6 victory points plus 1 point per common location confirmation. If you do the hotels, they are going to be in one of these 2 arrangements, and you're going to get 4 points plus the bonus. The fountains, 2 points plus the bonus. And then these restaurants and shops, it's simply based on the size of the tiles. How many are together? In this case, we're taking a look at 4 together. Arrangement doesn't matter. So 4 of them together is 1 point plus the bonus. So this player here is confirming 4 of these. That's 1 point. They're going to get 1 point. But then we check the common board, and we see what's in the same location. Well, there's nothing there right now. So we are going to fill those with the appropriate tokens. So we are looking here at E, has 2 of these, and then we'll put 1 below it, 1 above it, and that's going to match that player's board. This common board will. And so that means they're going to get 1 bonus point for every correct tile on the common board. So they've got their 1, but they get another 4 for all this. So 1, 2, 3, 4 on top of that. From now on, let's say later on, I confirm, let's say a hotel. I'm going to confirm a hotel that happens to be in the same area. So let me find myself a hotel token here and explain how that goes. Let's say I put a hotel there, there, and there later on. And after drafting those tokens, I want to confirm that hotel. It has to be size 3. I will flip them over like so. I'm going to get 4 points as it says there. And then I'll check the central board, the common board here. Well, unfortunately, there were restaurants in that location, not a hotel. So I cannot take one of these and put it there. There is a clash there. So if I cannot put it out, it will in fact not go out at all. And I'm getting no bonus points. If I had been able to build it like this, I would still get my 4 points, and I could still confirm this. This indeed matches, and I would get my 4 plus 1, 2, 3 points, and get myself 3 more points on the track. And again, if it's on the central board, it's confirmed for everybody, so you might or might not get victory points based on what's out here in the middle of the table. The restaurants and the shops are slightly different than the other pieces because if you would confirm some and some of that space is already taken over, so here I'll give you an example. Let's say that that's there. That's actually what I did. So these are over here, like so. And then my opponent over there, let's ignore these restaurant tiles. Let's say what my opponent actually confirmed was this, a grouping of hotels, or rather restaurants that looks like that. And they confirm that, as I said, that grouping is a single point. And then they go to the central board and they check what's actually there. Well, part of that was actually taken over by a hotel. But that doesn't mean they're wrong about these 2 spaces. So you still fill in those. Because these are single squares, they are modular, that means that part of it might have been right. So they'll do this on the central board, and besides their 1 point, they get 2 bonus points. They won't get these 2. These 2 are wrong. But these 2 are fine. So they get a total of 3 for that move. Okay? It's a little tricky, but that's the general idea. This is going to continue with the players drafting tokens, placing them out in the required pattern, as you see here, a specific diagonal. And you cannot rotate these images, by the way, of the diagonals, hence the symbols on the boards that all have to be facing the same way. So there is no rotation of these patterns. And then you're confirming different locations, putting out the matching symbols, the matching buildings, things like that. At the end of the game, which is when you've run through all of these cards, and each one of these is going to show up twice, then we are going to do some end game scoring. And the end game scoring is everything you've gotten already for confirming all of these types of locations. You are going to check the 4 predetermined spots and see if indeed you did match them. If you matched all 4 of them, you get a bonus 6 points. You're missing one of those, or you ended up with a wrong color there, well, you're going to get 3 points, and so on. If none of them are correct, or you simply didn't place into them, that's negative 2 points. We're also going to check who's got the most of these penalty tokens, and whoever does gets minus 1 point per token they have. And then lastly, the bonus. In this case, you're going to get 6 victory points if you have confirmed on your own board at least 2 of the hotels. If you have 2 of them, doesn't matter which shapes, doesn't matter where they are, if you've scored 2 of them, you're going to get 6 bonus points. And it also does not matter if they matched what's out here, simply confirmed and scored on your board. And that's it. Whoever has the highest score is going to be the winner of the game. So there you go. That should give you an idea of how the whole thing operates. Like I said, it's a little bit tricky. It might take about half a play to really understand the concept behind your image that you are building, confirming what's in the center board if you are the first one to get to that area, but it'll become quite easy as you are playing. So let's go ahead and go back up top. Let me give you some final thoughts on this. There you go. That is Remember Our Trip. So let's talk about it. Overall, I was very pleasantly surprised by this game. Maybe I shouldn't be, because I really like Saashi and Saashi games for the most part. Most of their games are very clever. They feel unique in many ways. They are their own creation. And this one, yet again, manages to do that. I think it's actually one of the better games that they've put out. They've done a few trick-taking games. They've done one solitaire game, which was very cool, one of their earlier games. But this one uses some concepts they've had in some of their previous games. Like, for example, Let's Build a Bus Route was a game that came out from the same company some time ago. And this one uses some similar mechanisms, but it's its own thing. And it's a very enjoyable game. It's one that feels pleasant to play. There is some turn angst. There is some tension, certainly. But it is a very easygoing game once you've understood what's going on. So let's break it down. My only slight negative is the aesthetics in the game. I think the game looks pleasant enough. I think it is very user-friendly, the look of the game. But it is not a particularly splashy or visually thrilling game. That's my only real small ding against it. The rest of what's going on here I do enjoy. I like the thematic ties and the setting of the game. Saashi games tend to be strange, but they are always strangely thematic also, and they have their own sort of vibe to them. This one is no exception to that. The replayability here is good. There's a few different ways to mix up the game. Some I showed you, some I didn't in the overview, that is. You have those alternate goals, the bonus scoring. There's a few different ones that you can do the basics, you can do the advanced ones. There are both sides of the board, as you saw. There is also a way in which you can reduce the playing surface and make it a smaller, a truncated board to create more tension and more danger and reduce the possibilities, right? That's very cool. So if you've played a lot, you can do that, experts sort of mode. So replayability is certainly good. The game length, it's surprising. It's such a short game. This is a very it's a punchy game. It's only 12 rounds, but there's a lot going on in those 12 rounds, and the game quickly compounds to give you a lot to think about. Not only are you attempting to get to the areas on that central board that have yet to be claimed by other people, and maybe claim it yourself, but you're also dealing with, the way in which you can deploy those tokens and what's available out there from the pool from which you can draft. And if you are forced to go somewhere in the city that's already been decided, then you can still score those bonus points as long as it's the same thing that was decided on the central board. Really clever stuff. So All of that in about 30 minutes, I think that's a winner. Ease of play. It's definitely going to be a little hard at first. And the folks I've taught it to are going to, or the folks I have taught it to have had a hard time sort of wrapping their head around exactly what's going on until about halfway through the game. Then, once you have that aha moment and once everything clicks, it's easy and smooth sailing from that point on. But it is a little weird. And I would recommend, if everything else being the same, that you learn the game from someone who's already played rather than attempt to learn from the rule book, because it's weird. It's just the kind of game that, even if you play a lot of games, might trip you up with the strange concept of a shared board built and decided upon by everyone playing. So there you go. Lastly, tactics and strategy. There's a lot of fun tactical choices here. The game has a little bit of strategy. You want to have that long-term plan to hit that goal, for example. And some of the advanced ones have a little more shift, the tactical depth towards the strategic side of things, where you want to plan much more than, say, have 2 restaurants, or rather hotels. Have 2 hotels. Okay. Or have one of this and one of that. Okay. There's a little more in those. But largely, you're reacting to what's going on. You are reacting to the draft pool that's out there. You are reacting to where your opponents are placing, to what's developing. I like it. I think it's got some interesting things to consider. And like I said, the replayability is high. So the tactical repetition does not set in as quickly as with some other games. So there you go. That's the game. I like it. Another winner for Saashi Saashi, the publisher. This one is with a co-designer, by the way, whereas most games are simply from designer Saashi. There's a co-designer on this, Daryl Chow. It's a nice fit, though, clearly, so I like it quite a bit, and here is my bottom line. A clever game that feels distinct and unconcerned with following trends. Remember, our trip has its own personality, and I, for one, am very happy about that. So there you go. This is going to get an 8 out of 10 from me, which is a strong seal of approval. I definitely recommend it. If you're looking for something outside of the box, you're a gamer that has quite a few different flavors of games. You've explored the gamut, so to speak. I still think you're going to find something here that maybe you haven't seen elsewhere, something that is going to fit into your collection and give you a new flavor to try out whenever the mood strikes. Definitely give it a look. If you're not that kind of person, I still think you're going to enjoy this, as long as you're okay with games that are a little bit quirky. That's Remember Our Trip. I am Z Garcia. Thanks, everybody, for checking this out with me. I'll see you on the next one.